Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have maybe a very interesting topic to me and you, something we care a lot about, and we're trying to spread the word here on tracking your money, tracking your spending. Some people will refer to that as budgeting. I don't know if I'm a big pusher of the word budget. I think, budget feels restrictive and kind of like you're sacrificing in a way, versus I prefer to be an optimist and think of what the opportunity is. And so I prefer, to use the term tracking your spending. And I feel knowledge is power, right? And having an idea of how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, what my net income is, what is my opportunity on a month-to-month basis, is super important. So I have been personally tracking my spending. I budgeted in the past. I remember downloading my first app and doing that in my first apartment in college. So I would have been going into my sophomore year, got my first job and started using mint.com, RIP to mint.com, to do all my tracking. So this is something that has just been a part of my everyday, every day, but every week life. And then, getting married and doing it with Leah and having us be on the same page financially and being able to review things every month, it's just been super helpful. So again, I believe in tracking over budgeting, but if you need to help with that budgeting, here's a couple different ways to do that. But certainly we encourage everyone to be tracking their spending. You might think it's a younger, up and coming, get out of debt thing, but it's not. Some of the most critical moments in time to be tracking your spending is in that lead up to retirement. The most important question to have answered before you retire, when the income is over and there's no going back, is how much money do I need or want? And if you have no context around how much you have been spending, it's very difficult to create a financial plan and say, I need this amount of money in retirement, because you ultimately have no idea. And, we hear people talk a lot of, it's 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. That's just not true. You and I know that. People want to do more things in retirement than they did beforehand. They have way more time on their hands to spend money. So always be tracking, whether you're 22 or 62, always be tracking in some capacity. Let's go through a couple of ways that you and I both do it or have seen people do it. So I personally am a user of Simplify Money by Quicken. Switched to them, I don't know, it's been 5 or 6 years, I think. Very happy with using them. Everything is pretty well digital and automated, and I've been using their software so much that I'm an expert, and I can get on there and I can use it really quickly, and to track my money, every month is easy to me, because I've taken the time to build out all the options that are available on Simplify. So I think, if you are interested in doing it quicker, faster, more seamless through apps or a web-based solution, Quicken, Simplified by Quicken is the personal one I use. But some people kind of prefer the more pen and paper approach, or the Excel approach. So, Will, why don't you walk through kind of what you worked with on a client on one?
Yeah, for sure. So a client actually came to us with this Excel sheet kind of already built a little bit. Then we kind of helped them iterate and improve on it and see just kind of what the important numbers were to track here. But essentially what we want to highlight here, and what I want to stress the importance of, is especially early in your career, focusing on, one, making more money as you start to progress through your career, but then two, not letting lifestyle creep eat into the entirety of your additional earned income. So we started in 2023 here. You can see on the right side, we've got inflows, right? The paycheck that they've earned, maybe potential commissions that they've been getting. And then on the left side, some savings and some bills categories. And then ultimately, we help them set up this Excel sheet so that it let them know exactly what on the right side there, their total savings was, what their total spend on bills was, and then right below that line, the net flows, which is essentially discretionary spending for this client here. So you can see in 2023, right, net flows about discretionary spending about $1,300 a month, which is, roughly almost $300 a week, a little bit more than $300 a week there. And now if we move to the 2025 budget example, you can see on the right side, their paychecks have increased a little bit more. Their commissions have increased a little bit more. However, you can see still on the right side there, that net flows number has only increased by about $200 per month. And you can see in turn, because they've increased their income, but kept that net flow saving number down, that total saved has just skyrocketed for this client. And we've been able to see their net worth, really start to skyrocket because they understood what their monthly discretionary need was. Right. And of course, it's gone up with inflation, but it hasn't gone up as much as it could have. Right. Because they kind of built a baseline of, hey, this is how much I need to spend on a monthly basis to go ahead and live the life that I would, that I'm okay living as far as eating out and entertainment expense and, doing fun things throughout the month. So again, what Sean said is it's knowledge is power, right? If you know exactly how much you need to spend on a baseline, you can be a lot more intentional with the money you receive when you do progress in your career and start to make more money down the road. Now, obviously, this is a little bit more involved than the simplify money approach. However, some individuals like to be more hands-on with their finances and potentially find it a little fun here. But the main idea we're trying to get across is that you just have to have some sort of idea, and you have to figure out exactly what works best for you. And if you do that, I promise you, if you do that and then work with a team that lets you know exactly where to put that excess cash flow, when you have that excess cash flow, you're going to be on pace to, achieve really any goal that you set forward if you can just commit to, tracking the spending, understanding what you want, understanding what you need, and then working towards progressing that salary as you continue to grow. And it does work for retirees as well. Just like Sean said, knowing exactly how much you need to spend in retirement, and then we can work backwards from there to see how much you need to save to achieve that goal by retiring at a certain age down the road. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Will do something. That's what I took away from what you were just do something. Whether you want it to be automated on an app or pen and paper or something in Excel, just do something. I think when it comes to kind of the younger people specifically, but really everyone, like even into these late 40s, early 50s, when people are still trying to solidify their savings and their wealth accumulation, what I see constantly is not working. I wrote a couple of things down. Is I think the core problem is a couple of things. People do their budgets first and the savings based on the outcome of the budget. That's mistake number one. Because if you save first, then everything can really get spent from there. Imagine a world where everyone, when they got their job for the very first time, just said, oh, I'm going to put 15 or 20% into savings, and I can spend every other dollar however I want. As long as you don't go into credit card debt, that's all you got to do. And so I think people doing budgets first, savings second is a major issue. And then I also think a big problem is we do budgets in dollars and traditionally savings in percentages. When you think about your work retirement plans, you are deferring a certain percentage of your salary. You are getting a match in percentages. So when people are doing these budgets in dollars and saving in percentages, if you're on your 401k platform and you're choosing a percentage, and especially if you're not tracking, but then you're thinking in dollars and trying to write down a percentage, to be careful, right? You're always probably going to lean that percentage a little lower than what it should be to just make sure there's enough money for the budget. And so I think if people could put their tracking in percentages, right, or convert the percentages of the 401k to dollars and just pay a little bit more attention to that, I think people would have a lot more success being consistent. And that's probably the best, ending word for all of this is just be consistent no matter what you're doing, how you're doing it, be consistent with it. So again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Will, thanks for your time. This is an important one, I know, to you and me, because we live this. We literally do this every single month. And so we're practicing what we preach here. And I can't tell you how much easier, the last 10 and 15 years of my life have been, buying first homes and cars and raising kids and trying to figure out savings rates, because I had the data. And I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Well, appreciate everyone taking the time. Hope you have a good rest of your week, and we will see you all next week.